Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Sphumelele Zondi. Now this week we tell you about technology discussions that took place at the World Economic Forum on Africa. South Africans have been engaging on cyber racism again. Our discussion is on Uganda's social media shutdown as there were protests against the 6th inauguration of President Yoweri Museveni. We also review the LGG5. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's start with your technology and social media news. Now, the World Economic Forum on Africa, which took place in Kigali in Rwanda, focused on digital transformation this year. The plan was to look at how tech can boost Africa's economic growth. Africa Coding Week also launched on the sidelines of the forum. This year's World Economic Forum on Africa in Kigali, Rwanda was themed Connecting Africa's Resources Through Digital Transformation. Experts at the forum feel the uptake of new technologies in Africa will help grow economies further.
At this time, African governments and the private sector need to be thinking about what are the changes that can be made that don't necessarily cost a lot in terms of stimulus. And clearly the attention has to be on technology. If we're looking at how different economies might be able to adopt productivity gains, any developments in technology, especially with the leapfrogging that we've typically seen a lot of in Africa, can really do a lot to boost growth.
In order to do this, Africa will need to develop new skills that the continent has a shortage of. These skills will help create jobs of the future, and this was also stressed at the launch of the Africa Coding Week, which was also in Kigali.
Coding is really getting people to be at the forefront of developing the solutions that are required then on the continent.
But governments will have to improve access to the internet and other technologies.
10% increase of broadband penetration brings up to 1.4% of GDP growth. So there's a direct link. So the more connected the country is, the better the business, the more sort of creative there will be digital entrepreneurs, etc.
As Africa's growth slows down, experts say the consequences will be dire for those that refuse to include new technologies in all industries.
Countries which have been investing heavily in ICT infrastructure tend to be better in terms of economic forms than other countries who have not invested.
And at the World Economic Forum on Africa, it was stressed that new digital tools can help in healthcare, education and most other industries. Some feel the digitization of most industries will take away jobs, but many of those here feel that new skills and new jobs will be created. Cyber racism has once again come under the spotlight in South Africa. It's been a week of many trying to make sense of statements by Judge Mabel Jansen. In a private Facebook conversation, she said rape is part of black culture in South Africa. Question Time had a conversation about cyber racism. The Black Lawyers Association has asked for Judge Mabel Jansen to be fired. They've also asked for a review of some of her cases. Jansen has been placed on special leave since she went on Facebook to say she's yet to meet a black girl who wasn't raped at about 12 years old. In her Facebook conversation with Gillian Schutter, she also said rape and murder seem to be part of the culture of black people. Facing a backlash from the public, she went on Twitter to say her views were taken out of context. Experts say academic institutions Jansen attended should also be questioned when their products have such views.
For an educated person to express him or herself in that kind of way is a betrayal of the supposed value benefit that he or she could have gotten from the institutions from which he or she could have been coming.
Cyber racism has been a massive topic on social media in South Africa since the start of the year.
The term cyber racism was coined in 2002, so many years ago, by Professor Les Back from the University of London. So it's not something new to us as South Africans. It has existed since early days of the internet and social media in general. And sadly, it is something that will exist for a while, but what's important is how we control it.
Experts say people often feel they can say anything to their friends and followers on social media because they feel their friends are people who share similar thoughts and beliefs. This perhaps was the case with Matt Tierneson. He used the K word when he referred to the government. This was following Sports Minister Fikile Mbalula's order to sports bodies to give black players a better chance to play sports that are seen as traditionally white in South Africa.
We have freedom of speech in the country, and that's really great. But we really want to have, in the content of that freedom of speech, a level of understanding of and engagement with this particular issue, which helps us come to another level of understanding and how we behave in the country. Okay. And we are needing to, as a country, to do that on a much more intensive basis.
There's now a public online petition to remove Janssen from her position. The Future is a social media campaign that is looking for Africa's alternative energy entrepreneur. Energy company Shell and Senegalese singer Akon have partnered for this. Akon has other projects where he is lighting up parts of Africa without electricity.
Tell me what you feel.
Energy company Shell and Senegalese-American musician Akon are looking for an entrepreneur with an alternative energy solution for Africa. They've collaborated by shooting a music video for the hashtag #MakeTheFuture campaign. The video for the song Tell Me We're Okay highlights the launch of Africa's first human and solar-powered football field in Lagos, Nigeria. The project to light up parts of Africa without electricity started in Akon's home country of Senegal.
The biggest achievement was the first pilot ever that we did in Senegal, and it was one of those moments where, because I remember going back home to my village and dealing with the same issues, candlelights, kerosene lamps, and for the first time I was able to go in my old neighborhood and see street lamps there that we put up. You know what I mean? So that was that actually motivated me to say, okay, I get it. Now we got to get all of Africa like this, and whoever else needed, we want to be there and be a part of that development.
To learn more about Akon's partnership with Shell and the company's search for entrepreneurs with big ideas, use the hashtag #MakeTheFuture.
We still mean something, 'cause some things are real.
Right now, let's see what's been happening in the rest of the technology and social media spaces.
As we ask to go green with the technologies we use, South African light bulb suppliers are still struggling to get their country's citizens to switch to LED light bulbs. Philips says only about 20% of South Africans are using LED compared to 90% of people in China. This is because the light bulb is seen as expensive by many.
The purchase price of the LED luminaire globe is twice the price of a CFL genie lamp, so that's the issue. What they don't realize is that the life of an LED globe is 15 times longer than what they have currently. So the payback period is much longer and brings down your cost of electricity consumption and your bill.
South Africa's largest mobile phone operator Vodacom has announced it will be scrapping its M-Pesa mobile money transfer system in South Africa. For many analysts, this move comes as a surprise because M-Pesa has been a huge success across the African countries, especially in Kenya where it was launched in 2007.
You book me through M-Pesa.
The service allows people without bank accounts to transfer money quickly, easily, and safely using their mobile phones. The winners of the Kenyan Blog Awards have been announced. The best Kenyan blog is Biko Zulu. The best entertainment blog is Galfra Kenya. The best fashion blogger is Lucia Musau. The full winners list is on Kenyan Blog Awards website. A Chinese company has been told it can no longer use the words Facebook in its branding. This after a Chinese court ruled in favor of US tech company Facebook. The Wall Street Journal reports that Beijing Higher People's Court announced it had revoked approval for Zhongzhuang beverage, which makes flavored milk drinks and porridge, to use the name. Other American companies have not had Facebook's luck in China. A firm making handbags just got a go-ahead to keep using the name iPhone on its products, despite registering the trademark in 2007, 5 years after Apple did. The federal government has begun scanning applicants' social media posts as part of the security clearance process, a reflection of how information on Facebook, Twitter, and similar sites is increasingly seen as an important part of someone's background. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence says the new policy will be adopted soon with certain limitations. The US government already collects a large amount of information about people when determining whether to grant them a security clearance.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. After the break, we discuss Uganda's social media shutdown with Levi Kapato. Stay with us.
The big news is Newsroom.
We also stream live on YouTube.
Whether you're at home, at the office, or at the gym, wherever you are, Newsroom is right there with you. Bringing you all the latest news, updates, sports, weather, and everything in between. Get all the latest news you need on the go via live streaming on our YouTube channel. That's Newsroom, weekdays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News Channel.
It is a news network at sabc.co.za and email. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, MTN has faced fines in different parts of Africa. The biggest one was in Nigeria. In Rwanda, reporter Diabo Setu visited MTN offices to find out if the South African network provider is worried about being targeted with fines there.
MTN is one of 13 registered South African companies operating in Kigali, Rwanda. It enjoys a dominant market share of 50% with a subscriber base of 4 million customers. But lately, MTN globally has been tainted by a $3 billion fine imposed on it by Nigeria. CEO Gunther Englin does not expect any fine imposed on it by Rwanda. He says there's very little opportunity not to comply with the rules.
We do comply with all legislation, but the most important thing is that they are very consultative. They are very unlikely to issue random fines. They are more likely to write us a letter and say, these are our concerns. You have 3 weeks or 4 weeks to remedy them, or in most cases, just call us in for a conversation before we even get to that step.
Rwanda's spirit of entrepreneurship is evident in all corners of Kigali. Here, it's close to impossible not to spot an MTN vendor. For many, it's a step to entrepreneurship and a source of income. Englin says Rwanda's digital ecosystem is good, but he spotted some loopholes that he says should be addressed. According to him, the digital infrastructure is stable while the pricing is competitive, but the cost of devices as well as local content owing to language constraints are some of the challenges that need to be tackled.
Uganda had another social media shutdown a few days ago. This time it was for nearly 24 hours in the time leading up to the inauguration of President Yoweri Museveni. The first time it was during the re-election of President Museveni about 2 months ago. Mobile phone network providers like MTN and Airtel played a role in this as well. They blocked Facebook, WhatsApp and Twitter in the country. Joining me in studio to discuss this right now is media analyst Levi Kapato. Hello and thank you for being a part of our network.
Thanks. Good evening. Good evening to your viewers.
What happened in Uganda exactly?
Yeah, so just as you've said, previously, during the elections, we saw sort of social media being shut down. People could not access, Facebook, Twitter, and other sites simply because the state had loosely framed it as a national security threat, as it were. So you can imagine at a time when you're going through one of your most fundamental democratic processes by electing the leaders of your choice, then you do not have your digital rights, or you sort of have your digital rights suspended. So this happened again ahead of the inauguration of President-elect Yoweri Museveni, and people, as you pointed out, could not then access those very same sites again. And this time around, it was the same discourse that was being pushed, that there was an imminent but undefined national security threat, and therefore it warranted the suspension of these services. So the mobile service providers complied. MTN and Airtel both issued out notices. Ironically, some of them on social media as well, saying we're going to suspend this service to their users.
But there is a possibility that there could have been a security threat, no?
There could have been, but it remains undefined. There was nothing more coming from the government to say, for this reason, you need to shut down the mobile networks, or access to the services, which is quite disturbing, because in instances like this, you expect your government to actually come out and at least specify what the threat is, so that also citizens are at calm and citizens know what's going on. If there's anything they need to do, they are also prepared for that. But there was nothing like that happening. It was just a suspension and blocking of those services.
In this digital age, what are the repercussions if social media is blocked in any country?
The biggest repercussion, obviously, is the violation of human rights, and in this case, it's the violation of the right to free expression, which is, I think, any government that claims to be democratic has got a particular duty to maintain, to promote, and to actually advance that right to its citizens. In this case, it didn't happen with Uganda. So, obviously you get people who no longer are unable to participate in conversations going on. So supposing you voted for Yoweri Museveni, for instance, you cannot tweet that you're so happy that, the president is getting inaugurated today. There was so much attention on Uganda. Again, people were disenfranchised. So those of us outside of Africa became the ones who were speaking more about Uganda than the people in Uganda themselves. So I think the government shot themselves in the foot with that. Secondly, there's the issue of the businesses. In your insert on MTN in Rwanda, the CEO there used the word compliance, that businesses need to comply when the rule, or when it's instituted that you need to suspend your services. They complied. Basically, maybe there was use of the law there or other.
But Liva, you're raising another important topic, compliance. Yeah. Because if they don't comply, and then there is the law that says they need to do this, and they get kicked out, then people don't have access to those services forever.
Absolutely, and this is why it's important for businesses, especially businesses that are involved in the ICT sector, when they're negotiating for their licenses. I think it's important for them to constantly be aware of the need to promote and advance human rights. There are many guidelines from UN level to the continental and regional and national, I think, guidelines that help businesses to make these decisions, to go into business knowing that, potentially they might be asked by the government, and sometimes, with legitimate reason, to suspend services. But when they do that, yes, I think they must be guided by principles that advance human rights, principles that say we are here to promote freedom of expression. We will stand with people in this regard, and we will not be used to violate human rights, as was the case in Uganda.
Quickly, Uganda is not the first country in Africa to do this. Arab Spring, DRC, maybe?
Not at all. Many countries have done it here in Southern Africa. Mozambique did that a few years ago. Congo, Brazzaville, during the elections, did this. And it's quite worrying, because it's a growing trend that we're seeing across Africa, that, governments that do not want people to access these services, to speak out online are shutting down. And what's worrying, I think, is that businesses are complying and businesses are not taking it upon themselves to defend and to promote human rights online.
All right, Levi Kaboto, media analyst, thank you once again for joining us on Network.
Pleasure.
All right. Now, it's Africa Month, so we're finding out with the people who live in Johannesburg how they stay in touch with home if they are not from South Africa. This week, we spoke to a Mozambican, Milton Maluleke.
Hello, my name is Milton Malulek. I'm from Mozambique, Maputo. I live here in Johannesburg for the past 8 years. To get in touch with the people at home, I use mostly social media and especially Facebook and WhatsApp. Mostly WhatsApp because I can make calls, I can send pictures, and yes, I can actually get easy updates without spending a lot.
All right, it's SABC Network on social media. Remember, you can find us there. It's the LG G5 review after the break. Stay with us. A lot more Africans are getting smartphones.
You've got 150 million people using mobile devices in this country.
This means internet connectivity is increasing. That results in access to information. Some are using social media to share new African narratives through campaigns.
Your friend says, oh, I'm seeing this thing on Facebook. Where is it happening? Now, Yege Stadium, everybody goes there.
On Network, we tell you how Africans are staying connected. We also have new gadgets, games and social media news. That's Network with me, Spumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 19:30 Central African Time. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, producer Buitume Lukasa got to play around with the LG G5 smartphone. She also gave it to 2 children who told her what they think of the phone.
This week, I was playing around with LG G5 and I decided to give it to a 6- and 4-year-old. And this is what they had to say.
It has a nice operating system. It's fast. It doesn't glitch. The speakers are nice and loud. If you put it outside and you're still inside, you can hear it. It's a very good phone. Nice storage. You can change colors. It's got a lot of good apps. This folder management will be blue, and then it is blue. Or let's say this one will be gray, and it's gray. It got good storage. You can change the colors of your folders. It's easy to use. You got good apps.
What I like about the phone, it has games and music.
It seems like it would be a perfect early Christmas gift.
Early Christmas gift, Buitumelo, so early in the year. Now let's see what some people have been sharing on social media. Metro FM has been a trending topic on social media in South Africa. Many listeners were celebrating 90% local songs they've been hearing. They say it's exposed them to local songs they've never heard before. Some have been discussing news reports that say South African Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan faces imminent arrest. Reports say the Hawks want him for an espionage case that allegedly happened when he was with the South African Revenue Service. Some are worried about the economy should this happen. In Ghana, the launch of a local music download app, Loud Sound Ghana, has been a popular topic. And that's all we have for you. We leave you with a video that started the hashtag This Flag campaign in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans are now engaging about what their flag means to them and how they should fight for it as they are facing economic and political hardships. The video that started the conversation is by Pastor Evan Mwawarire, who is a well-known author and speaker. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za. An email from me and the rest of the team. Bye-bye.
This flag, this beautiful flag. They tell me that the green is for the vegetation and for the crops. I don't see any crops in my country. Anzi the yellow is for all the minerals. Goride, diamonds, platinum, chrome. I don't know how much of it is left, and I don't know who they sold it to and how much they got for it. The red, they say that is the blood that was shed to secure freedom for me, and I'm so thankful for that. I just don't know if that they were here, they that shed their blood and saw the way this country is, that they would demand their blood be brought back. This flag. They tell me that the black is for the majority, people like me. And yet for some reason I don't feel like I am a part of it. I look at it sometimes and I wonder, is this a story of my future, or is it just a reminder of a sad past? And wherever I go and I put on the colors of Zimbabwe, they look at me and as if they want to laugh, they ask me, are you from Zimbabwe? Machiseka. And sometimes when I look at the flag, it's not a reminder of my pride and inspiration. It feels as if I just want to belong to another country. This flag.
A very good afternoon. You're watching the Midday Report.